Let's move on to Israel, where you got very good notices across the political spectrum from Israeli leaders. But you also met with King Abdullah of Jordan. He recently told the Washington Post, and he's been saying this in the United States as well, when asked if Iran is the #1 threat in the region, he said, no, I think the lack of peace between Israel and the Palestinians is the major threat. I don't see the ability of creating a two-state solution beyond 2008, 2009. I think this is really the last chance. If this fails, I think this is going to be a major threat for the Middle East. Are we going to go for another 60 years of Fortress Israel, or are we going to have a neighborhood where Israel is actually incorporated? That's our major challenge. I'm very concerned that the clock is ticking, that the door is closing on all of us. I'm confident that he said the same thing to you. Yeah. Did you tell him that you would appoint a presidential envoy who would report only to you to work exclusively on the issues of peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis?
I told him something approximating that. What I told him was that this will be an issue that I don't wait until the last minute to work on, that I want to pick up on some of the progress that has been made coming out of Annapolis. I give the Bush administration credit that the Annapolis process has gotten Prime Minister Olmert in Israel and President Abbas in the Palestinian territories to have very serious and frank discussions. I think they have moved the ball forward. They may not be able to finish the job. They certainly can't finish it without serious participation by the next administration, and we've got to start early. And one thing I want to pick up on, because I think King Abdullah is as savvy a analyst of the region and player in the region as there is. One of the points that he made, and I think a lot of people made, is that we've got to have an overarching strategy recognizing that all these issues are connected. If we can solve the Israeli-Palestinian process, then that will make it easier for Arab states and the Gulf states to support us when it comes to issues like Iraq and Afghanistan. It will also weaken Iran, which has been using Hamas and Hezbollah as a way to stir up mischief in the region. If we've gotten an Israeli-Palestinian peace deal, maybe at the same time peeling Syria out of the Iranian orbit, that makes it easier to isolate Iran so that they have a tougher time developing a nuclear weapon. So we've got to take all these issues, and I think the next president has to start very quickly in moving both on the peace process forward and still recognizing that issues like Iran are connected and of extraordinary priority.
You met with a wide variety of Israelis. You only met with Palestinian President Abbas, but you went to an Israeli village that had been shelled. You went to the Holocaust Museum. Any number of people have commented on the fact that you really didn't spend any time with Palestinian businessmen or go to a Palestinian family that lost a child to Israeli gunfire. You didn't even get a falafel in East Jerusalem while you were there. Yeah. Can't you see why any time an American goes to the Middle East, goes to an Arab capital, on the street or in the corridors of power, they say, you just do whatever the Israelis want you to do, and the politicians come out here are looking for Jewish votes?
Well, I don't think that's entirely fair. This is my second trip to Israel and the West Bank, and the first time that I went, I did meet with Palestinian businessmen. I did talk to Palestinian students in Ramallah. When you're in a region for a day, you've got a lot of boxes that you got to check. And in Israel in particular, a big chunk of our day was meeting with not only the current prime minister, but former prime ministers and a whole bunch of people who intend to be prime minister. And it was important for us to make sure that we had covered our bases there. But the larger point, I think, to be made is this, that the Palestinian people are having a very tough time right now economically. And it is in U.S. interest to make sure that they have a sense of hope and opportunity and a Palestinian state. I think it's in Israelis' interest as well. And what I've said is that we're going to make sure that the Palestinians have a state that allows them to prosper, as long as we also have certainty that Israel's security is not being compromised. I think it's in the interest of both parties, but we are the critical ingredient in terms of making sure that a deal actually gets done.
Next stop, Berlin. You were a rock star.
Our kids saw some wild things and came back with the most popular looks